Hello. It's been a while now that I have actually taken time to reflect on a gospel. But since it is Easter, I made it a point to ground my greetings on the gospel this Easter Sunday, which is from John 20, verse 1 to 9. I must say that meeting different persons here in Canada with different belief systems and religions from different perspectives, hoping that I can greet all of you, my friends and families, with that same joy I have drawn from the very meaning of Easter for us, or for me, which is the resurrection of Christ, the very hinge of our faith, was challenging. But in context that it is good and for the good, I always believe in two things when it comes to the Word of God. One, its meaning is abundant. And two, the meaning we draw from the living Word can always be resonated to our ordinary human lives. It's not a closed system. That is why it is a living word. So let me read to you the gospel for this Easter Sunday, which is from John 20, verse 1 to 9. On the first day of the week, Mary of Magdala came to the tomb early in the morning, while it was still dark, and saw that the stone removed from the tomb. So she ran and went to Simon Peter and to the other disciples whom Jesus loved and told them, "They have taken the Lord from the tomb, and we don't know where they put him." So Peter and the other disciples went out and came to the tomb. They both ran, but the other disciples ran faster than Peter and arrived at the tomb first. He bent down and saw the burial clothes there, but did not go in. When Simon Peter arrived after him, he went into the tomb and saw the burial clothes there, and the cloth that had covered his head, not with the burial clothes, but rolled up in a separate place. Then the other disciples also went in, the one who had arrived at the tomb first, and he saw and believed. For they did not yet understand the scriptures, that he had to rise from the dead. Now, from this gospel, other than the fact that the tomb is empty, for us we believe that Christ has risen from the dead. But to take notice what the persons in the gospel did. Their response to their certain mystery, to that certain mystery, that a dead person rose from the dead, or even to the fact that the tomb was already empty regardless whether Christ rose from the dead or not, it is a mystery. Something that is not ordinary, something that is not logical or scientifically possible until proven otherwise. Some would consider it controversial or that it is a conspiracy. But simply put, it is a mystery. And the characters of that account, from John 20, verse 1 to 9, from Mary Magdalene, Simon Peter with the other disciples, responded with curiosity. So take note, they responded with curiosity. They were compelled to know. In fact, they did not just walk. They ran with all eagerness to actually see or witness that the tomb was empty. And so they saw, they understood, and they believed. But that initial response to be curious of something mysterious, meaning something immaterial, something that is extraordinary or something that is not before us visible and tangible, even something that is illogical or not normal, something that we don't understand, to be curious about it is a human trait, a human response that should compel us to know further, not to differentiate, but to understand each other. Our human lives have so much mystery, and the only thing that has kept us going is this initial response to be curious, because this opens us to further study it. Others aren't curious anymore. They just receive what is given before them. Not even passive curiosity. They just don't ask questions anymore. They don't have that imagination anymore. They just receive what you see is what you get. Others are curious but don't proceed to studying and so aren't bent to subjective, relative, and limited to what they know already. This leads to categorization, to discrimination, even to fanaticism. And all of us are not free from this limitedness. which hopefully with curiosity, we open up our minds to actually be curious in order to understand, and later on in order to believe. So this is in fact what troubles our world now, and as much as there is growing mystery of how our lives are lived together, how our lives are lived today, especially with the complexities of how our lives are lived today, we cannot help but be curious. But for what? To know, to understand, and to believe. If not for specifics, to believe that there is always something worth living for each other. It's not about like, not for specifics, meaning not in order to know the resurrection, but how is it to live with each other? It's a general idea of knowing each other, knowing our differences, but then for what? But to understand each other. So this is my message to all of you, my friends and families here in Canada and in the Philippines. Easter reminds us to be curious so that we will be compelled to know in order to understand, in order to believe, if not to a certain faith, to believe on each other, to believe in the goodness of humanity. Everything starts from that belief. God would want all of us to believe that all human beings are good. I think all belief systems and all religions are compelled by that concept of God or their God, our God, to believe on that first principle that all human beings are good. And probably with that, all the rest of our problems will slowly be nothing. So, happy Easter to one and all. Be actively and dynamically curious for humanity. Thank you.